Welcome to Guide Mia. Today we're going to talk about submitting a new AlignerBot case. This is for orthodontists and general dentists running clear aligner cases. You have a Cympha account with a clinical role, an intraoral scan ready, and either a lab in mind or you plan to use Guide Mia's first-party design service. By the end, you'll know how to fill the AlignerBot intake form, which files to attach and why, how the treatment parameters steer the AI, and what the status ladder looks like once you press submit. Budget about 8 minutes for your first case. After that, it's 3 to 5 minutes per case, most of which is just the scans uploading. Follow along on screen, or listen now and read the written guide later. Let's set the frame. An AlignerBot case is an aligner case that gets planned by an AI design engine instead of waiting in a human designer's queue. Your job at submission is to give that engine two things: the scans and the constraints. Here's a detail worth hearing early. Open bite scans and quadrant-only scans work fine, but the AI will use the limits you set in the form, not guess them from the geometry. So the form isn't paperwork. It is the clinical instruction. Get it roughly right at submit time, and you avoid a whole review round trip later. That's the mindset for everything that follows. For things to have ready. First, the intraoral scan, ideally per arch STL or PLY exports for the upper and lower jaw. Second, the patient's name, date of birth, gender, and chief complaints are optional, but they appear on a lab slip and in the AlignerBot's planning notes, so they're worth 30 seconds. Third, a clear idea of the plan range for each jaw, canine to canine, premolar to premolar, or full arch. You can change it later by requesting changes, but choosing right at submit avoids that round trip. And fourth, optionally, if you have an Ortho Plus install, the Cympha Agent Manager lets you push a full case folder in one click instead of dragging files into the browser. There's a separate guide for installing and pairing it. Step 1. Sign into app.cympha.com and click New Case in the sidebar, or go straight to the new case address. The page header reads New Case. Now, one thing happens immediately that's worth understanding. The moment the page loads, a draft case is reserved for you on the back end. That's why you can start dropping files right away, even before you've picked a lab. Everything you upload attaches to that draft. And it's also why you can relax. The case does not reach the lab until you actually press Submit Case. Until then, it's your private work in progress. The first section of the form is titled Lab, and you have two choices. Choice 1 is Guide Mia Design Lab, the first-party service. Its card describes orthodontic planning, clear aligner design, and implant guides. Click it if you don't have a lab partner, or if you want AlignerBot to run on Guide Mia's central workstation. Choice 2 is your own lab. Use the search box underneath and type the lab manager's email, the exact address they use to sign into Cympha, then pick from the dropdown. There is no public directory. You have to know the manager. If you picked Guide Mia, 3 category tiles appear next: Ortho, AlignerBot, and Implant, and you click AlignerBot. If you picked a custom lab, look for an AlignerBot style service in their service list. Otherwise, follow that lab's own intake form. Step 3 is optional, but recommended. Under the section called AI Extraction, there's a paste box. If your notes already contain a clinical paragraph, say 28-year-old female, mild crowding on the upper canines, plan upper 3 to 3, automatic IP are allowed, expand premolars, paste it in and click the extraction button. The form below fills itself in from whatever the model can parse out of your text. 2 honest caveats. It isn't perfect, and you should review every field after extraction. But for the common AlignerBot case, it cuts the typing significantly, and reviewing a mostly filled form is much faster than filling an empty one. Step 4, the files. Scroll to the Files section and drop your files into the drop zone. For an AlignerBot case, you want the upper and lower STL meshes, the actual intraoral scans, plus the bite scan if your scanner exported one, because it helps register the upper arch to the lower. Clinical photos are optional: frontal, lateral, intraoral. Files upload as you drop them. The right side of each row shows progress, and once it flips to a green checkmark, that file is in storage and attached to your draft. One more option: if your Cympha Agent Manager is paired, an Upload via Agent button appears, but only on desktop, only for non-designer roles, and only when the agent is reachable. It pushes a whole case folder in one click. Before we get to the treatment parameters, pause on what this form actually is. Everything you enter, the patient details, the complaints, the constraints, flows onto the lab slip and into the planning notes the AlignerBot works from. There is no phone call where you clarify what you meant. The form is the conversation. That's not a burden, it's a feature. A few precise minutes here replace the back and forth that eats days in a traditional lab relationship. So treat the next step, the parameters as the clinical prescription it really is. Step 5 is the heart of the intake, the treatment parameters section, which appears once you've picked AlignerBot. It has 2 columns, upper and lower, with exactly the same fields on each side, so you can prescribe the 2 jaws independently. Plan range comes first, and there are 4 options. All, meaning the full arch, 3 to 3, canine to canine, 4 to 4, premolar to premolar, and 5 to 5, second premolar to second premolar. Then the tooth level controls. Automatic extraction lets the AI propose extractions if it thinks they're needed. The extractions field takes explicit FDI tooth numbers you want extracted, comma separated, 1, 4, 2, 4, and so on. And missing teeth takes the FDI numbers of teeth that are already absent, so the planner doesn't try to move ghosts. Then come the directional permissions for the AI. Allowed IPR, protraction and retraction, expansion and extrusion and intrusion. Align middle lines pins the midline alignment in the final position. And finally, the finer biomechanical preferences, the curve of SPI and sagittal and coronal inclination. Now, the single best piece of advice in this lecture, don't agonize over any of it. The defaults are sensible, and over-constraining the AI is the most common rookie mistake. Set the hard don'ts, no extractions, no IPR, whatever your real clinical lines are, and let the planner explore everything else. Step 6, the finish line. At the bottom of the form, tick the consent checkbox. It confirms you consent to the processing of patient data in accordance with the privacy policy and GDPR regulations. If you picked a custom lab with explicit pricing, a pricing consent checkbox sits above it. Tick that too. Then click Submit Case in the sticky footer. If any uploads are still in flight, the page shows uploading files. Please wait until they finish. Then it routes you to the case detail page. A toast appears telling you the case was submitted and suggesting you install GuideMia Ortho Plus to review and adjust the plan when AlignerBot finishes with a Get Planner button. If you don't have Ortho Plus yet, click through. You'll want it for Phase 2 revisions. Here's the ladder you'll watch on the case detail page. Every submitted case starts at Submitted, held by the lab manager. It lands in their inbox the moment you hit Submit, and they triage from there. Then Designing. For AlignerBot specifically, this is when the central Ortho Plus workstation produces the Phase 1 treatment plan. Then Awaiting Approval. You get an email saying the plan is ready, and the case link takes you to the approval page, where you'll see the lab slip, the files, and 3 buttons: Approve Plan, Request Changes, and Escalate to Lab Manager. After you approve the plan, AlignerBot generates the per-step aligner design. That's Phase 2, and the same cycle repeats with appliance approval. 2 gates, and you hold the key at both. For common snags, if the file section says the workspace is still being prepared, the draft case is still being reserved on the back end. Wait 2 seconds and try again, and if it persists past 10 seconds, refresh the page, which refires the reservation. If you click Submit and nothing happens, look at the consent checkboxes. The button is disabled until the patient data consent is ticked. It reads Submit Case normally and Creating while in flight. If it's stuck on neither, check the browser console because something platform level is wrong. If your lab manager isn't found in the search, either they signed up with a different email, ask them which, or their lab's onboarding wizard isn't complete, so they aren't surfaced to customers yet. Both fixes are on their side. And if the plan range you want isn't in the dropdown, the 4 options are the only ones offered. Pick all, and use the extractions and missing teeth fields to constrain the working set. That's the whole submission. Pick the lab, let the extractor pre-fill, drop the scans, set your hard limits, consent, and submit. The first case took you 8 minutes. The next one takes 3, and most of that is the scans uploading while you do something else. From here, 2 guides pick up where this one ends: the approval lecture, for the moment your case hits awaiting approval, and the agent manager guide, if you want one-click case folder upload from Ortho Plus instead of browser drag and drop. The written version of this walkthrough, every field name, every checkbox, every toast, lives at cympha.com. Open Docs and find Submit a new AlignerBot case. We're recording a lecture for every Cympha workflow, one at a time. So if this format works for you, subscribe and the rest of the series will find you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.